How'd you get a bridge without graffiti, Heather?
That's what I was wondering, the same thing.
Where'd you go somewhere?
That bridge looks remarkably good, Mike.
They might have
photoshopped
it.
All right, I've got 10 o'clock. The pastor is going to do invocations tonight here, so Diane has agreed to do our invocation, so she will do that. Please rise.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to live in this nation and our freedoms and all that we have. Lord, we ask that you help us come together and glorify you in all that we do and say. We thank you for our many blessings, and we ask that you give us wisdom and courage and strength in all that we do. And we thank you for loving us so much that you gave us your Son. And we ask that you help us to do your work and deed in all that we do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thanks, Diane. I'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Clifton.
Here.
Fitch. Here. Stansel. Here.
Okay, all present. We have an additional resolution that we'd like to add to the agenda, so can I have a motion to amend the agenda to include a resolution concerning civil engineer to investigate the cistern?
So moved.
I have a motion from Diane to amend the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Heather. All in favor of amending the agenda indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. And can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda with the amended agenda?
So moved.
Motion from Heather. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Diane. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Wait, note here so I don't forget that when we get to the resolutions. Next item is a public hearing for the budget amendment for FY '23. Can I have a motion to enter into a public hearing?
So moved.
Motion from Heather. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Diane. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. We are entering into a public hearing at 10:02 a.m. Shelley, everything was published as required?
It was.
Did you receive any written comment?
None.
Okay, you want to walk us through this, please?
Yep. So I have this broke out by service area. Service area 1, the sheriff's office, we are amending, he's listed on there twice because he has two different funds. So we're amending the general fund by $113,425, and then the rural fund by $25,177. Those are for the Teamsters MOU changes that you guys agreed or voted on back in the fall, right after the budget year started. And then also he increased his training line. The ambulance department, I'm increasing that budget by $273,248. A lot of that is the MOU wage increases. Also, we've seen a huge increase in fuel and then supplies and utilities for that building. And
Shelley, if they don't use this, it slips back.
yeah, it just sits in there. Yep, it'll just sit in whatever fund it is, yep. Environmental health increasing by $2,000, that was just an insurance change. Social services, I decreased by $24,124, doing away with the group home. We were able to reduce those lines down to whatever was spent as of the time that we sold those group homes. Same thing, I decreased their insurance expense line once that all went to the Franklin County, and that all went away and Christy left. That left a little bit of money in there, so I went ahead and reduced that line just to kind of clean that up. Public health increased their budget $3,400. That's for a community health assessment that they're required to do, or they're working with the hospital, is that right?
Yes.
They're sharing that cost with the hospital.
Right.
So they need to pay $3,400 for that, so that's giving them the ability to be able to do that. Non-departmental increase of $54,779, that's just to allow for opioid settlement expenditures in case we need to spend some of that money by June 30. Economic development, we received some money for cemetery historic markers, so that's allowing them to be able to spend out of that. Conservation, this is just the expendable trust. They brought in some money, so this gives them the ability to spend that money. Secondary roads, increase of $205,800. That's for gas, fuel, oil, grease expenditure increases. I know Mike had a chart that he printed off of the fuel expenses. They've gone up a lot. We kind of talked, he hopes this will get him through the end of the year, so. Board of Supervisors, I did add in there for the board clerk. Obviously that'll just sit in there if you guys don't get one hired between now and then. Building and grounds, so $32,800 for overtime and utility cost increases. Information technology, $22,509 increase. That's for the annual licensing and solutions cost increases. Last year when we did the budget for all the solutions costs, they did not send us what their increase would be until after the budget was approved. So we're kind of behind on that. Risk management, I did go ahead and lower that. We'd increased that with the first amendment for the year. It does look like we're gonna be able to take that back down a little bit, so I reduced that by $2,776. That's just our liability insurance. Human resources increased her budget by $22,900. That's for the increase in publication costs, but majority of that, I think $21,000 of that was investigation costs. So we've had a lot of employee investigation expenses. That's where that has come out of. Non-departmental, I reduced the American Rescue Fund expenditures for this current fiscal year by $873,465. That has been moved to fiscal year 24, so that was in the budget you guys approved last week. Secondary roads, there was an increase of $70,000. That was just for a couple projects, the VROS swap C061 and the VRO CHPB C061. And then capital projects, this is just the historic preservation. They have a grant. They received money for that. They need to be able to spend that money by May, so this allows them to be able to do that. Additional revenue, the interest on investments for the treasurer's office is way up this year, so I went ahead and amended to include that. That's an additional $205,000. Conservation, there was some expendable trust donation, $69,000. I went ahead and included that. Social services revenue, that was the sale of the group homes, $163,956. Additional zoning revenue, that was fines and forfeiture money that they had received of $3,000. Then this is that $75,000 grant that the historic preservation had received, so that's the revenue side of that. And then the opioid settlement money revenue that we've received. So final fund balance increase, our fund balances are gonna go up $454,750.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have we touched the bridge loan we have for the nature center?
We have not.
We have not. Is that expiring? I mean, was that for just a?
Nope, there was no expiration on it. Do you know how close we are to?
We're gonna be really close.
Yeah.
Well, a couple more expenditures and we're gonna be starting to utilize that bridge loan, so.
Okay.
And that was open for like 5 years?
It's
Before
5
we
years
did the budgets?
once we start utilizing
Mhm.
it, so, once we take the first draw on that, so.
But we expect to have monies coming in to pay that back, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Nice to have that interest rate locked in when we did it.
Yes, no joke, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was not on the debt schedule that I did for the budget for this year, just because as of right now, it's
Yeah.
not a debt. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
All right, thank you, Shelley.
Yeah.
Anyone wish to comment on the budget amendment?
Can I share the fuel trend
Absolutely.
charts and speak a little bit about that? Thank you. Quickly this morning, I dived into our diesel fuel only, that's all this is. And there's good news and bad news there. The bad news is we saw a peak around July of last year. It was the highest price we've ever paid. The good news is it's going down. The bad news is it tends to be trending still higher than our average. And going back to reflect on the budget, you know, it's 6 months behind, you know, we start that. You know, so if you think, well, yeah, we weathered the storm, but we may not have. Generally, you know, when we try to budget for diesel fuel in the past, as you can see, you know, it's right around that $2.50 mark. just like the world we're in right now, it's very fluid, diesel fuel. So hopefully that trend goes back down, but I just wanted to give a quick graph on why that is where we are. And of course, that's spilling over into raw materials, rock, culverts, everything else. Yeah, everybody's home, even at home, I'm sure what they're feeling. So.
It looks like it's starting to kind of tip.
Yeah, it's starting to level out around the $3 gallon, but you saw how fast it went up there in
Yeah, that's
just
crazy.
1, 2, 3
Like
months.
that was-
Yeah, and, you know, so that's the reason why. We are going to have to try to do more with a little less, try to figure out how to manage that. Our business runs on diesel fuel, so it's a big,
Not only
big
business, but
discussion.
your materials are driven.
Yes, yes.
Can you email that, Mike, so I can present it to my board?
You can have your.
Yeah, I can, and again, I apologize, that was just quickly this morning, I got, yep, I'll email you one too. That's,
All right, thanks, Mike, that's good information. Okay, if there's no other comments, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn the public hearing at 10:10 a.m.
So moved.
Motion by Diane, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Heather, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same sign, motion carries. All right, we've reached the public comment portion of our agenda. Is anyone from the public that wishes to comment at this time? Anyone on the phone that wishes to comment? Okay, I don't see anybody I don't know, so I'm assuming that means Tracy
She's
is
not
not
here.
here. Guess if she shows up, we'll squeeze her in later. First, let's consider the resolution for the civil engineer to evaluate the cistern first. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Diane, is there a second?
I'll second.
Got a second from Heather. Any further discussion?
I just have some questions, because that was just sent to us. Can,
I just got it.
help me understand what the, I mean, I'm sure you had discussions with them about this, so what exactly is this involving? Can you explain that?
Well, I can explain that in this last rain event, there was a lot of water gushing into the basement.
Correct, yes.
And they mitigated it very quickly, but then I sent them all the pictures and all the emails, and they were here within 40 minutes, Mitch and the architect. They did, they really think there's maybe something disconnected or unplugged up.
To the cistern.
Yes.
Well, you mentioned the EMP collapse, which is the kind of like the filter. But, I mean, this is, I mean, as we spoke earlier, this is the third time we've had an issue with this, so why are we,
Okay.
what was the deciding factor to finally have them dig a little deeper on
Well, the
this?
first issue was they disconnected downspouts, and that was
Right, I know
fixed,
that's
hook
not
them
the
up.
three I'm
This
talking
issue is
about.
different. This issue is backing up from somewhere.
And I think some of this is, people were on site when it happened.
Yes, and we could see
Well,
it
right, it's not
gushing in.
raining.
But no, what I'm
So
saying
we're
is-
going to get a camera, so we can look in there with civil engineers, and we have to figure out, and the city's going to be there. We're not sure, we're not back flushing from the city, we don't know. Because
But they
this
said
was,
there was a lot of debris, but they
There
didn't say
is.
what kind of debris, if it's construction debris.
no,
or if
it
it's-
was mud and leaves, and, so we don't know. So they're going to have, asking permission, because this wasn't in the scope of, it wasn't in the beginning, to spend up to $2,000, and if they find that they didn't hook something up, then we'll have to go back and rectify that. But
And they'll reimburse us.
yes, so
Now,
we're
as
going,
I read it, it looked like there's two potential issues, one between
Yes.
the drain and the cistern, and another one, the cistern's not draining, right? So you could have
Right.
two
we
problems.
could.
So so what it is right now, it's supposed to, the way it's set up right now, it's supposed to drain into the cistern.
And the cistern drains to the storm sewer, correct?
Right, but we did not have the debris issue the last two times this happened.
I don't know that we know that.
Well,
Well, this is why we're asking permission from us to get engineers here and scope this, so we can, I've called another separate contractor to come down, and we're going to all look at this, and they have to figure this out, where this is coming from. We don't really know where this is coming from. We don't know if it's back, they don't even know if it's might be coming from, they don't know if it's coming from the city, Cause their storm drain was plugged.
Because
We don't know.
we've never had this issue,
That's why we're gonna find out. We don't want this again, so we have to
Well,
find
I don't
out.
disagree with that, but the point I'm trying to make is, before construction started, we never had this issue.
We know.
So, it sounds like it's related to construction, so that's what I'm
Well,
trying
I
to understand,
think,
why we
yeah, there's a
paid
system in
that.
place to mitigate this, but we believe the system's not working as it's
Yes.
supposed to.
We think something's not working, so we have to find out why it's not working.
I'm gonna take this as a positive, we're
I
gonna
am
figure out
too.
what's going on and get to the
Cause
bottom
I
of it.
told him that Thursday, not one drop of water, he said there's expected some water in the basement. I said, not one drop of water is okay with me because we've never had water. And
we've
it
had
has to
now
be
4 times.
fixed.
We've had it now 4
Well, the
times,
one was,
so.
the downspout was human
Diane,
error.
I know you keep saying about the downspout,
What's
and I'll
human
give you
error?
that.
It isn't, this
But
is
Then
different.
you
3
haven't had a
times.
grate in place there, you've had wood over there with holes in it,
Yes.
which is not gonna take nearly the water
Which-
that expanded metal
which-
grate would,
But
so.
Yes.
all 3 of us have gone to them multiple times asking them to fix that, and they never did.
Well, now they are, so now we're gonna find out where this is coming from, so.
All right, we have a motion on the floor, and we've discussed it, so, call for the question. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our next resolution is approving the week of April 23rd to the 29th as National Crime Victims' Right Week in Madison County. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion from Heather, is there a second?
Second,
Second from Diane. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Next resolution is approving the FY '23 budget amendment. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion from Diane, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Heather, any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Now we have 2 individuals interested in, might be a bit of a stretch, but willing to serve as the Webster Township trustee effective today. Rachel Evans was one, and Chip Cherhar's the other one?
Yep, and he is, a young farmer and, wanted to do, some community service type of thing, civil service. And, he was interested and he volunteered, so, I think it's great that we have a younger person that's willing to do this. It's probably a thankless job, and, once you are appointed or elected, you'll probably serve as long as you want, cause no one else will run
Doesn't get
against
out
you.
of it, yeah.
So, I kinda wanna, I don't know how old Rachel is, Diane, but,
She's young.
She's
about my
young.
age.
She's young. She's young. Okay, so Jed's younger than you, so, my thought is I just wanna be able to encourage some of our young folks to step up and do some public service, so.
Okay. And what did Rachel have to say when you visited with her?
She said fine, she'd be glad to serve. She's a longtime farmer. She knows about fences. She knows all
Well,
the
it comes from a
rules.
long-term farming family.
Long-term farming family, actual farmers, yeah.
Okay.
She's willing.
All right, well, that's good to have more than one person that's interested, that doesn't happen very often. Does anyone wanna make a motion?
I make a motion to approve Rachel Evans as a Webster Township trustee.
Okay, is there a second to that? I would second that motion. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of appointing Rachel Evans as Webster Township trustee, indicate by saying aye.
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 I,
Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, next resolution is approving a draw for Turning Point Evaluation Renovation Project. $26,802.55. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion from Diane, is there a second?
second.
Second from Heather, any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next resolution is to approve the 3-year contract between Madison County and Cost Advisory Services, Inc. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion from Heather, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Diane, any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next resolution is approving to appoint Melissa Bentley as the Madison County Historic Preservation Commissioner effective today. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion from Diane, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Heather. Any further discussion? The only thing I found interesting in her application is she serves on the committee of committees at her church.
I know, I was wondering what that was.
Well, that sounds like bureaucracy.
It's a committee to make other committees, I don't know.
Anyway, that's the only thing I found interesting. If there's no other discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries. Next is a resolution to appoint Don Britton as the Madison Township Clerk effective today. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion from Diane, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Heather, any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, motion carries.
That was a much harder sell.
I had trouble with that, because I think there's more work to that.
There is.
Oh, it's a
yeah.
checkbook.
Checkbook,
Yeah, still gotta file reports though.
yeah.
All right, we have 5 work agreements here. We have H, I, J, K, and N. I would ask for a motion to approve the 5 work agreements.
So moved.
Motion from Heather, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Diane, any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries. And then we have 2 resolutions to approve adopt the highway programs one with Hollowell Bridge Club and one with the Ohio Future Feeders 4-H Club. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion from Diane, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Heather, any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries. Next we have an application for grounds use from the Farmers Market Group. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Sorry, Heather.
Motion by Heather, second from Diane. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries. All right, moving on to other business, board member reports.
Well, we had our comprehensive plan meeting, but I can talk about that later. We had an NPO meeting, had an Iowa workforce meeting. That's pretty much mostly it for what I've done for boards and stuff.
Okay. Diane?
I had historic preservation, and a lot of my meetings had been canceled because of availability. Somebody couldn't make it, and now I have a lot coming up, but historic preservation, I attended that.
Kind of something interesting going on with CICS and some of the state reorganizational type things. Historically, that group was made up almost all entirely of supervisors, and they've added a few more people to it along the way. So the governing board is primarily supervisors and a few lay people. Well, now with the switching funding on that, where it's really not funded with county property taxes, the reorganization looks like it will cap the number of supervisors on that board at no more than 49%. And we have 15 counties in there, and so now they're more than that. So we haven't approved how we're gonna do this yet, but what they're looking to do is to have supervisors serve, ultimately 3-year terms on that, maybe 1 year, 2 year, 3 year to get
Basically
things.
alternate. is that-
And we'll alternate.
Okay.
Right now, Madison is one that would serve on it for a 2-year term, and then at the end of that 2-year term could go on for another 3-year term, but you can't serve more than 2 back-to-back terms, and they'll rotate the counties through it. They've kind of done, and this is all initial, they had a group meet and come up with a plan, and then the other counties that aren't part of the governing board, voting members, they'll have quarterly meetings, kind of an overview type of a thing. So, I mean, just,
So what do you think about that, how that's gonna work?
well, I wish you wouldn't have changed it, would be my first reaction, but what they are, so we're having to deal with that.
Yeah.
So people that are, chair that or vice chairs, they're sliding in there. I've been on that board for quite a while, so they kind of put Madison in, there's a 2-year. And I think it's good that you have those quarterly meetings and rotate them through. If you're not really a voting member, how engaged are you on those quarterly meetings? I don't know.
I think they're fixing a lot of things that weren't broken.
Oh, it's kind of,
I know for the NPO meeting, Madison's not a voting member, and I pretty much attend to find out where the grants are. That's pretty much
right.
what I pay attention to, because that's what affects us.
Where are you on Iowa workforce?
Meaning,
What You had a meeting not too long ago.
Yeah, we're staying in the 2080. They're assuring us that, we're not gonna be liable for the other counties that pulled out. We're still trying to figure out how that's gonna work. But we're not taking on any more counties than what we have, which is good, because I don't want us to take on the additional liability for those counties. Basically, the whole left half of Iowa pulled out.
I know the
So-
northwest corner.
Yeah, so
Cassuth kind of led that charge, didn't they?
I don't know who led it, they didn't really talk about that. But I'm just interested in moving forward on how we're gonna work it and, making sure we're not liable for those counties, and then just move forward with where we're at. We have a really good director, he's very engaged, he meets with each individual supervisors, in addition to the meetings that we do. So I'm thinking it's gonna be good, but there's a lot of, until this legislative session is done and all the bills are passed, they're kind of holding their breath to see how
Yeah,
it
it's
goes.
a little bit of limbo here, but, it
Yeah.
sounds like if it happens, it's gonna be July 1, so it's coming up pretty fast.
Yes.
At least from a mental health board standpoint.
So like you said, Diane, there's changes that, we don't know how it's gonna affect us, legislatively.
We're trying to get away from monthly meetings, mostly in a push to get people to physically attend the meetings, but with 15 counties in there, driving the debate, I never thought anything of it before I could jump on my computer, it's 2.5 hours of drive time to go to Nevada for a meeting.
Are they not doing Zoom anymore?
They are, but they really like to have them in person, so they're trying to get away from monthly meetings, to having to be less frequent, but with a push to say, okay, you don't have to come every month, but we like to get up here 5 or 6 times a year.
Oh,
You do have better discussions. than
You
others.
do. My last online Zoom meeting was the 5th Judicial. It got so ugly quick because they weren't in the room, and the state would answer no questions, none. And some of the supervisors had really good questions, and that's something that works. This is a state that once you're in prison, we don't have a lot of people going back to prison. We do really well, and this is what they want to get rid of this. I don't know, this is something that's not broken.
Mhm.
And that, I like in-person
makes you wonder what the
meetings.
driving factor is. for
Well,
these
they're using it
changes.
as money, but if I have a board, if I have prison systems that I can stay in the prison and go out and have a job, and then check myself in at night, and that works, and I don't go back, that's going to save us way more money than having these systems. And they're saying it's to save money. I don't think it's going to save money. I think it's a knee-jerk reaction.
Stay tuned, I was scheduled to have a meeting for CSCS Thursday, but the agenda was light, so I'm getting away from every month meeting, we're not gonna meet in April, we'll soon we'll meet in May. And then we'll know a little bit more about what's going on with the state organization stuff too. All right, moving on to old business, budget director, board clerk, we discussed this as new business at our last meeting. What I would like to do is I'd like to schedule a study session, and I'd like to have Shelley, Sarah, Tess, the three of us, talk about the situation, where it is, how it got to this point, and how we resolve this going forward. So I'd like to set a date to do that, so I don't know if anybody has a time in mind. I hadn't really thought that far ahead yet. Do you have anything on, we probably have a construction meeting on May 2nd.
Yeah, we're gonna start going to every other week now.
Oh, even in months where there's 5?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Well, I think you said first and third.
Yeah, but we'll see. If we need it, we're gonna
It's
make it.
supposed to be done by May 31st.
Oh,
You don't have to
yeah.
meet that.
The workers say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Well, it doesn't have to be on a Tuesday.
no, does it?
When's
Um,
convenient for you, Shelley?
Any day but Thursdays.
How about a Monday
Is Tess gone until Monday?
Tess is gone till Monday, yes.
And she'll probably be,
I know.
falling down when she gets back, so.
How about next Thursday, Shelley?
She said third.
Thursday.
Oh, you said every day.
Okay.
How about Wednesday, May 3rd?
I can do that, if we do it like 10:30 or after.
How about 11 o'clock
11 o'clock
Wednesday,
Wednesday, May 3rd? That would work.
Are we having it here?
Yeah, let's do it here. It's going for construction meeting here at 10. So. No, never mind,
No,
different
it's
day.
on
Let's do it
Wednesday.
here.
It's on Wednesday the
Yeah,
third,
Wednesday.
right? Okay.
Wednesday,
Can I
23.
say something about this, just to give people something to think about? I don't want, to hire outside sources, I wanna keep what we have the way it is. What if we, what if I stop writing anything in the paper that might fuel people, and we don't put anything on Facebook, and we,
That's what I wanna do for the study session. I
And
wanna
the-
just have a
and, but.
civil discussion on how we got here, where we can get going forward, and what we need to do. So that's my intention for this
Well,
study
I
session.
want one, what if we do all that, and we can talk about it, so you can think about it? If we send everything through this chair and it goes to your office, so you would consider staying, that's my, so you can think about it for the
Let's
studies.
discuss it next Wednesday.
We can discuss it.
All right, moving on. Decommission old voting booths.
Okay.
What kind of trash do we have to decommission?
Oh,
I don't know where that came
Oh,
from
it's not
on
you?
the agenda. Was
Chip.
it you? Okay.
Chip wants those,
Oh. Yeah, so we have the old voting booths down in the basement.
they look like big silver suitcases.
Yeah, they have the old stand-up metal, voting booths that we no longer use. So I think we talked about getting rid of them. A bunch of them are broken, so we need to do something with those. But Diane, apparently you had mentioned,
I
We
went
mentioned
down.
wanting to take them to the schools and that's why I brought, they should be.
Oh, no, I don't want it, I wondered if we'd want one for a cute little, picture booth. No,
Oh.
not just one, no.
okay,
I want them, I don't know if anybody will take them, probably have to call scrap metal. Chip and Steve and I worked down there yesterday. We have lots and lots of boxes of spliced extension cords. This stuff needs, a lot of it just needs to go to garbage. But I just thought we'd list it all, so nobody gets mad, and then I don't know, what do you wanna do with it? There's good stuff like face plates on doors, we'll save all that, of course, but most of this is,
Well, if it's broken, we're allowed to get rid of it, but if it's not broken, don't we have
that's
to
why
sell it?
I wanna decommission all of it. We listed everything. All those old blinds that we had that will no longer fit, those are just piles and piles of those down there. We'll list it, decommission it, and then how are we
I
gonna
think
get
that's
rid
it.
of it?
I think
Do you wanna, that people,
Sure.
well, some of it people could use.
Good use. How do we do that? Is there a value where we have to
Oh, there's
list
no
it for
value.
sale?
There's a community-wide garage sale in early May.
Well,
Throwing a card table out there.
Oh, also we're gonna have to, I'll talk to the court systems, there's a brand new conference table that they don't want, so we'll see if somebody else wants to absorb it. But it's been sitting down there for a long, long time. I'm for the community garage sale, dragging it out, and what doesn't work, we'll just throw it in there, see if they'll let us throw it in their dumpster.
That was just one thought that I
That's okay
thought
with
that I
me.
had.
That way, everybody, if they want it, they can have it. I'm okay with that. When is it?
Usually it's second weekend of May, I think.
Then I'll have
Which
to,
means that's coming, I don't know, I'm not positive on that.
so.
That was just a
Do you
thought.
think any of them are, I mean, obviously the broken things we can throw out, but any
We
kind of
already-
value that,
We put them on here, but we threw them out, cause they're dangerous. There's some stuff down there we shouldn't.
And I'm all for cleaning stuff up and get rid of it, but do we wanna wait till construction's done because there's some stuff down there that might get used for construction?
No, cause it's in everybody's way. It's in their way, and it's in the
well,
way.
can we just throw
And I
out the
think
stuff
Chip
that's,
wants it done.
can we
It's
just
in
throw
his
out the
way.
stuff that's broken and just leave the rest until after construction? Do you think that would?
Oh, I would
Clean
leave, they
things
want
up.
it out of there. They're just everywhere. We have broken chairs, we have stuff everywhere.
Well, that's what I'm saying, get rid of the stuff that's broken and then just keep the rest, to Phil's point, until after construction's done.
Why?
So we don't throw away something that they might need.
You don't have any, this is nothing.
And it's
Chip
not,
will
it's not
attest.
construction type material?
Oh, no, this is not construction type material.
It's all stuff that Denny's hoarded back into cubbies for years.
guaranteed to be wrapped in duct tape, yeah.
Yes, it is nothing you would,
Okay, yeah.
no, this is, I don't even know if we can give it away, so.
Looks like 80% of it had to go in a dumpster.
Yeah.
We did throw the real broken stuff away.
Okay.
But we just listed it anyway, the things that shouldn't be, but, okay, if you wanna drag it up to grass sale, I'm okay with it. Or just,
throw it
I think it's just,
away.
yeah.
okay, there's a cute little desk down there if anybody, or I mean, it's a little cupboard, somebody might want it, use it.
I mean, we can't, how,
Does it lock? If it locks, I'll take it.
Go look, it's down at the bottom of the stairs, I don't think it locks, Jen, and it's pretty rough, but it's not worth it, you could sell it for a garage sale for $1.
I'll look at it.
All right.
does the county do like curb jump days or anything like that? So where you just put it on the curb and then people do the rounds and they pick stuff up?
But they might,
The city has a large item, you like that?
there's nothing large, it's just
Okay.
the blinds, maybe somebody could think of something creative to do with them,
Yeah.
I don't know. I suppose if you want me to, I can drag them out on the garage sale, and then what doesn't have no
I
problem
don't know
with
what you
it.
have to sit out there, don't
I don't
sit,
Yeah, but
it's not gonna,
It's just-
that way
just-
it'll be fair, and nobody will get mad.
Don't think you can, man.
I don't think
You're
there's
that
anything
naive.
like that.
I mean, that's why, if you want me to drag down, I will, and then we can say everybody had an opportunity.
I think in the meantime, if Chip and Steve wanna throw away the garbage, they can throw away the garbage.
Oh, we have some of it, I don't know.
All right. Okay, courthouse exterior project. Had an eventful last week and it will prove to be an interesting construction meeting on Tuesday.
Did you, they called me Friday and said the doors were really, really dark. I said, wipe it off and go get the women and have them look at it. And I said, can't you tell? And he said, I'm colorblind. I said, go get the women and look at it. I'll drive over. But then they must have wiped it out.
You talking the exterior finish?
I think they're
Yeah, it
I
beautiful.
thought it looked good.
They're
The one I
beautiful.
looked at.
well, I haven't been back since Friday, but he had me come over there because it basically looked, you couldn't even see the grain through
That's
it.
right.
It was that thick. And then on the other door, what they did is they took some, they thinned it so you could see the grain come
I
through.
guess
and
the one I
prefer
looked
that.
at most closely would be the east door and I thought that was pretty good.
Oh, it's beautiful. Well, I made them wipe it off. I don't know why they didn't.
Well, it almost looks like one of that stained.
It's really
It
paint
is
thick.
it is. It's a
Where
different.
it covers the whole grain, it looks like paint almost. And
You know,
that's,
it's
it
kind
was
of a
way,
fine line between looking good and protecting.
and then as soon as you put the clear coat on it, it would make it even darker.
Not all.
No, if they didn't wipe it off.
So
Yeah,
the
yes.
east door is what it's supposed to look like when it's done, is that correct?
Beautiful.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Beautiful.
Good.
So we're here meeting May 2nd, 10 a.m. here.
Yes. All right, comp plan revision. Quickly
All
get
right,
some samples.
so
of-
I gave you some samples
some
of
drafts.
what we went over last night on the comprehensive planning committee. Everyone but one person showed up, so we had the entire committee, which was great. These are just some preliminary things that they've done. It's just a rough draft. They did chapters 1 through 5 and then chapter 7. The committee gave great feedback on things to change, things to improve. One of the things that we immediately noticed is that St. Charles and Truro don't have stars on the map. So we're gonna fix that. And then some of the data was missing as well, based on what they were doing. So this is basically boilerplate stuff that you find in most comprehensive plans. A lot of the stuff that the committee worked on is not in here yet, that comes in phase 2. But it is pretty thorough, and the comment that the contractor made is that we came with so much information that they normally don't get, that they were very impressed.
Well, Heart and Soul had done the heavy lifting on this.
Okay.
Well,
Kind of
he's
just
talking, no, I'm talking about things outside of Heart and Soul, that the subcommittees worked on.
Oh,
We actually, I mean, we referenced Heart and Soul, but a lot of the data that came back was outside of Heart and Soul. So they were very impressed with that, with all the research and examples of other comprehensive plans and ordinances and detailed lists of priorities. So, I don't know how heavy we're gonna rely on Heart and Soul, because a lot of the data leans more towards the city. And while we have to include the city in here, it's a county comprehensive plan, so obviously the priorities for cities are gonna be slightly different than in rural areas. So what I'd like you to do is read that, and if you guys have any feedback that you think should be changed or amended, or,
Looks like a great start.
yeah,
I look forward to
so,
reading.
we meet next on the 9th at 6:30 PM. So, and on that day, the contractor's gonna have a big map, and we're gonna basically go around it and plug things in based on the subcommittee preferences, for each of the four core preferences, so, and I'll ask them if they did any photoshopping on the bridge. But,
I'm getting
No,
off topic
because
a
I
little bit
think
too,
I
but was
recognize
thumbing-
somebody's name in here.
okay, okay.
Where's that house at? It's on the state highway, I'm not picturing it. It's just a Google Earth picture of that.
I was trying to figure that out too. I can't,
Okay.
I think it's on your side, Diane. I might have passed it, that looked familiar.
Nice brick home with that much storage on site.
This
Should be
is,
We're getting off
Mike would
subject here,
know.
but.
whose house is that? It's, no, it's not St.
I'll
John.
look at it. I'll look at it.
It's not that.
I'll look at it.
I'd
It's
invite anybody to
not.
come up here and identify that house if you're so
So,
inclined.
so
It's
anyway,
not.
so as you can see, this comprehensive plan is to be far more detailed and far more, information than our current plan is. And I'm looking forward to when we start phase 2, and we start getting into the nitty gritty of what the committee actually did for last year.
Good start.
So, yeah.
All right, ordinance review and update.
I don't know if we have anything pending for ordinances, we passed the pipeline last week.
I do have something I want to make sure that you just think about. I would love to see zones, agricultural zones when you do your ordinances. Do zones, you can even have floating zones, you can start researching that, but I think you need to have zones.
Well, I know the committees have discussed doing different layers of zone, like 3 different sets of ag zones, 3 different sets of residential. And we don't know if they're gonna be floating or they're gonna be areas or anything like that. That's kinda, we have to kinda wait until the comp plan's done for that, but that has been part of the discussions for that. What our priority is they wanna make sure all the industry and development is closer to the cities and rather than out in the rural areas. I know you had mentioned earlier, or a previous meeting, that we also want the tax base, so it has to be out in the county, which is true. But that's gonna be the priority, at least for the
And
community, is
and
push
there's
things
a
towards the city.
logistics component too, like you think over near Bevington, close to the interstate, there might be some areas in there that could
Right.
be a proper location for something like that.
Well, we just approved that, lumberyard, along, 169, so that was another thing, is that if we do have commercial industry, it stays along the paved
Yeah.
routes. So, yeah, I think, they're doing a lot of good work. I'm so far pleased with what they're bringing back and the questions they ask. They did a PowerPoint, which I asked for a copy of them last night, and once I get that, I can forward that to you, what was presented yesterday, so.
All right, good progress on that. If there's nothing else, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion from Diane, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Heather, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Buy a cup of coffee for anyone who can identify that house as being in Madison County.